immediate left here. So feel free to sit wherever you like. Actually, it's going to be right down. All right, sorry about that.
Oh, no, it's okay.
So, obviously, I received your, can I sit down with all this stuff? I received your email. All this information is going to be, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of sitting this way, so I'm going to get messed up. Your email is going to be forwarded to our detective, Ben Davis, for further investigation. I just want to let you know that, so I did receive it.
Okay.
And as you were saying out there, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was starting to think, if someone comes in, we're kind of talking about a sensitive topic, I don't want to get interrupted, or if anyone feels uncomfortable, so please go ahead.
Okay, well, again, I sent those emails because I said I'll send all the history because it's kind of like, it's a lot of information. And then, and it's hard to explain because, we've been, unfortunately, it's like 15 months trying to understand what was happening with our daughter, the way she left, the way they drove down, and they got her to, open up the window, and then Amanda helped take the stuff out the window while Richard and his wife Megan sat out in the street with the car running. So, and it took some time to figure this out because we, like when it happened, we thought it was the home invasion. I was at work, my wife called me, I drive back home, and then we being normal people, mentally we panic and self-destruct, and it was just, horrifying and brutal.
Right.
And then we submit the police report, and they take the information. But once they found out that she was over 18, then that's when they said, and then that's when we started learning that it's like everything has like regulations.
Absolutely.
So once they said she was 18, they said, well, maybe they started questioning my wife and son to make sure that we were not doing something, in the house. So we went through all of that, and then we, it's kind of like I'm trying to summarize it, but it was like, we couldn't think, it was kind of like.
Absolutely, understandable.
Yeah, so, but to summarize everything, we did contact our daughter's best friend, Malvika, and Angelica, and they were like her high school friends and college friends, and they all graduated together. So they told us that Olinda, our daughter, had been terrified of living at home for like the last 5 or 6 years, and we had no idea what they were talking about. So in a note, eventually, we were all calling our daughter, and then she picked up when my son, her older brother, was calling, and she told him, or maybe she texted him or something online, that she left a note. So they went in her room searching around, and we found a note that said why she left. And the reason was she was saying that me and my wife was abusing her and treating her like a freak and making her feel unsafe. And then she'll let us know, she'll contact us once she gets to where she's going. And then in the note she said if we wanted to, we could track her phone. So my son caught on to that because we didn't know how to do that, didn't know what she was talking about, but he just got out of college, and that's, kids that go to college, they get all the computer technology stuff.
Yeah.
So he was the one that said he could find out. So,
Right.
so with that, I just, well, he said they stopped in Hope, Arkansas, which was right across the Texas border,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like maybe 3 hours away. So, I was having a hard time trying to sit and wait. Like the police said, well, let's just sit and wait and see if she contact us.
Right.
And I couldn't do it, so it's like we had that location, so I just started driving
Mm-hmm.
toward Hope, Arkansas.
Right. So I want you to be aware. Obviously, you came in here to the PD. You wanted to talk to me. This is all voluntary. The door is semi-closed, but you're free to leave at any time.
Okay.
I don't want you to make you feel uncomfortable. And that's one of the questions I'm glad you're talking about. May I call you Albert?
Yes.
Okay. Again, my name's Ryan. So there were accusations of you, as you're talking about right now, physically abusing and strangling Olinda. So that's something that obviously caught our attention, and you're just beginning to explain it to me.
Mhm.
So,
Wow.
why do you think someone came up with those allegations against you?
Well, since I've been talking to all the human trafficking agencies, because I didn't know what it was, and I didn't understand it. So, as I talk to people, they say contact the human trafficking agency. You call, because I call the FBI, the human, Homeland Human Trafficking Department, and I call the Texas Human Trafficking Agencies, and just all those agencies, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So they started sending me information to read, because the police in Portland, he told me, as far as my daughter just running away, he said this happens all the time. And I said, again, I'm listening for the first time. So then when I fly home, that's when I started saying, well, let me see what they're talking about. So that's when I started finding out that, Texas is like the second state in the country that quote, have the most missing people. And then, through my journey of this, it's like, no, the kids and young adults are not missing, they're being taken. So as the documents and agencies tell me, they say the way this whole process works is like a grooming process, to where somehow they get in touch with your kid somehow, and they start this relationship, and it takes some time. So since I've been coming up here, since June, I don't come like every month, but every time I could come, I kind of just watch my daughter, and she's talking like a robot, and then when she comes to me, she'll grab me, she's holding me tight, but she says she's fine. So I get home and I tell my wife, daughter, she's still saying she's okay, but her nonverbal communication is telling me something else, because she's like terrified in her eyes. So, like I'll say, going back to Richard saying that I strangled her and things like that, that's why I said he called me on October the 16th, 2020, and he called to tell me he just wanted to let me know he didn't kidnap my daughter or anything like that, and he's like chuckling, and I was like, I didn't know what to say, because up until that point, all the documentation, including the court documents that they submitted against me, was written that says Amanda was the one that was instructing the group to do things. So it was like July the 20th, I was at home in Texas and was served the court summons to come to court on July the 24th, which was like 4 days away. And I had to borrow money to come up, because where it was written was all those accusations of me doing some of the things you're talking about. And I told my wife, I said, if I don't go, it's going to be like it's true. So I came up.
And they'd have a warrant out for your arrest.
And they would have something like that. So I said, I have to go. And then when I showed up in court, they didn't show up, so the judge dismissed it and gave me my certified copy. So that's why I keep those copies with me. I keep it on my computer because unless it's like an opportunity like this to be able to freely talk, I never get a chance to say, here's the rest of the story. So my thing is, on that October the 16th, that same call, when I asked Richard about Amanda, I said, when did you meet Amanda? Because that was the person we were led that got the initial contact with our daughter, online or in person. And then he said, Amanda's not with us anymore because she's like just doing something with the funding. They said she's not, we have missing funding or something. So they said that's why they split up and got their own place. So after that, because then, we were back home in Texas, so we could only like text our daughter because she could never talk to us. She could never get on the phone and talk, and it's like, well, we just want to hear your voice, so then we could tell if you're okay. But she don't talk on the phone, so that's why I have to come up here, because I said I have to come up, and it's always I come up to see if I could find her.
So Albert, why? I understand you went to court and they never showed up. But why do you think they would make those allegations against you that, you were physically abusive to Alinda and you strangled her? I mean, the strangulation is kind of specific here. I'm wondering how would they get that in their head?
Well, again, I'm new at this. I'm just learning about human trafficking and the tactics. So they say they use words to control your thought process. And then it's kind of like I tell people, well, I don't understand it. I know it's true because my daughter said some things that I did and my wife did, and I just told her, what are you talking about? Because when she called on the 20th, she asked me did me and my wife ever lose her. And then she asked me, she said, she's talking like she's an attorney. She said, I'm just going to ask you some questions. I just want you to answer the question because I want the truth. And on July the 20th, that was the first time I heard her voice since June the 9th or 8th. So I was just glad to hear her talking. But she asked me specifically, she said, did I ever break in our house and beat up her brother? And I said, what are you talking about? And she said it was when she was like 3 or 4 years old. And so luckily my son was at home, and I said, well, hold on, I'll let you talk to him because right now my mind is racing because I'm just kind of glad I'm talking with you. So he spoke with her about an hour, and it's the same thing. She was telling him that she thinks she's losing her memory, she cannot remember anything. And then on that same day, she told me, she said, I know who you are, but I don't think you're my dad. And she said, I remember, we own a child care center, and she said she remembered me being at the child care center, but she didn't know what I did, and she don't really know who I am. So as I listened to her and get the information from the agencies that explain this is how they use the words to change the perception of a person, and then once they start believing it, then that's their new reality. So that's why I say the little I know, I just know it's true, because if Richard called and he made the accusation, then the way the system is set up, the police, whoever they talk to, their job is to take it and verify. And then as that normal process takes place, then that's how I learn of the things that they do that I wouldn't ever know if I didn't come up here. And then my daughter's up here, and again, I know, in the documentation from like the Texas Human Trafficking team, they list all the things, the techniques that these predators use on their kids and they'll tell them things like, well, if your parents really care for you, why they're not up here? So then when I read that, I said, well, I have to come up here. Because if I don't come up here, and this is like the first trip to where she has been able to like travel, because we've been driving to Massachusetts to Salem, just all over. So the question is like, why on Thursday, like I said, I would have never knew what he what he told you guys, but my daughter got all nervous, and then she was saying, "Oh no," and she was saying, "Let's go back," because she don't want anything to happen to me. And I was watching her, and that's why I said, and I want to apologize again. I thought you were Richard when I was talking, and I didn't recognize this. We was driving, and my daughter was panicking, and I'm trying to pull over. So it's a lot of emotions, and I said, well, so I was glad that you kept repeating it to where I was able to hear you saying, no, I'm not Richard. And then I said, oh, okay. And I was trying to really, you just, how people say if something happens to them, they know what they're going to do. It's like, no, you don't. If it's something that never happened to you before, you only think you know what you're going to do, but you don't know until it happens. So it's that same thing with grown-ups and with me, of course. But you never know how anything's going to turn out, because it's not just you, it's like other people. And then it's hard for me to try to so much information to try to say, and that's why in the email, but I'll say go back to Amanda, and my daughter, when Angelica and Malvika came up to visit in June of this year, and my daughter sent us pictures, and I was looking at those pictures, and I was telling my wife, she's never that happy when I'm up there. So I told my daughter, I was texting her about those pictures, and I said, I'm trying to come up again, and this time I want to spend time with you, like you spent time with Angelica and Malvika, because in the pictures you could see that they were like just happy-go-lucky kids. And so I sent them that, because I said, this time, if you are sick, then I want to be with you. If you have to go to work, I'll take you to work, and I'll sit and wait for you. Wherever you need to go, I'll take you and wait for you. So this trip, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we went all over the place, and it's kind of like, and she was like just picking up stuff that she needed. So it's like mostly shopping, because that's why I say when she don't have transportation, she cannot do anything unless Richard take her, and that he's the one that she's backing up to the end, and that's why I said all this information, from all the agencies, the attorney, and I listened, and I said, well, in the beginning, it's like, it's no way. But as I see it and they tell me what to look for, then I come up and I can see it. And I said, And then I tell my wife, because I come up here and I actually see my daughter, I said, I have information that nobody else have. But, I could guarantee I never did anything to my daughter. So if he said I strangled her or tried to, was that something he said he saw, or is that something she said she told him? And then again, it's just wordplay, and I don't have any way to verify, because we cannot get all the people together, and that's like Richard, Amanda, and Megan. So I didn't know. I knew Richard and Megan were husband and wife because my daughter told me, and then when I found out they were living in a one-bedroom apartment, I said, well, why are the husband and wife and have you living in a one-bedroom apartment with her? And she could only say, well, I don't know. So she always sounds like that. She'd tell me she could not ask questions. She said she saw Megan packing up. Then I said, well, where was she going? And she said, well, I don't know. I said, well, when is she coming back? Well, I don't know. I don't ask questions. So I just listened to what she tell me. And then and then it's kind of like, in that email thing I sent, it was some emails from Amanda that said when they split up, she wrote why they split up, and she was in her email, which is why when I first contacted her, I said, no, let's just email because I need to have stuff in writing. Mm-hmm. And then she said Richard wouldn't let her watch TV. He would control her. She couldn't watch TV or only certain movies. And then she said that he was wanting to have sex with her, she wouldn't, and he would get mad at her. Mm-hmm. And then it's kind of like he's so polite to where I know people too. It's like, normally the super polite people in charge, when they get upset, then they're terrified whoever is underneath them. So I had people like that, my managers, and it's kind of like it's a whole, for a parent that they'll say, well, it's the parent, and then how do you defend yourself? And it's like, well, I don't know what they're talking about because I never heard it before, but with him making that accusation, that goes hand in hand with that document that's in the email where he wrote that I was threatening him and saying I was going to hurt him for getting in the way. And the date on that document, at that point, I didn't even know where they lived. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know where they lived in Portland until July the 20th when I got that document. So as I looked at those court documents, they started following those court documents like July the 8th. So they took my daughter June the 9th, and then like 4 weeks later, they're going to court. And I said, wow, I didn't know that, but I wouldn't have knew that again if I hadn't, been looking for her. And then I have, different officers on my journey, they would tell me, whatever you do, don't stop looking for your daughter, because she's trapped. And then they explain it like, I forget the term, but it's kind of like if you get captured by someone and then you're there so long, you're going to go into survivor mode. Mm-hmm. And I just said, okay, based on that, my daughter is just trying to survive. So, like when I see her up here, I just tell her how proud I am of her just for still being in one piece. Mm-hmm. But she tell me the stories of, they change jobs a lot also. So like they start this new job, but whatever job they go to, it's a job that Richard somehow get for them, and then he's driving up to work and picking them up. So mm-hmm. They worked at Lowe's together, Home Depot together, it's Hannah Ford place together, mm-hmm. And now they're starting, this week at Shipwright, mm-hmm. And then so I just started seeing the connections, and then I was looking at when he took my daughter, it was Richard, Megan, and Amanda, and then they strategically, I don't even know if it's true, but Amanda's no longer living with them. Now it's the three, and then the story.
No, it's just Richard and
my daughter now.
Yeah,
right.
There's been a disagreement between Megan, Amanda, Richard, and Linda, so it's just Linda and Rich in the apartment.
Right.
So, are you saying that you never strangled or physically abused Melinda?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And have you ever sexually abused her?
No.
Okay. So, I definitely appreciate your very in-depth history of this and all the information you're passing on to us. But we got a call yesterday from Belinda's advocate, and she told us yesterday, after we spoke on Thursday, so yesterday being Friday, that she wanted to report that she was kidnapped by you and drugged by you to go to where you went to Dartmouth, Massachusetts for the hotel. And then she said you were going to take her to an airport, and that was around Connecticut.
No.
Okay, so were you guys headed to the airport at all?
No.
No? Okay, and why would she say that?
Well, again, all I can tell you is what the agency's telling me as far as how the mental, it's kind of like when I read this thing, is this,
Yeah,
it's
we're telling that out there.
yeah, the psychological, how they control the kids, and that's why it's once she's alone. Well, see, that's what I said. I'm not able to explain it because this is just the information I get. So if she's telling other people I did that, then how can I prove I didn't do it?
I don't know, and that's why, obviously we have to look into this.
Well, I'm glad you told me because.
Well, it's something we have to, we have to touch base with you and, look into all possibilities, just like you doing for your daughter. We have to do our job. So, are you telling me you guys were not headed to the airport at all?
Correct.
Were you guys in Connecticut?
No.
No, you were just, where did you end up?
We were in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And then, well, we were driving, and I would have to, because when my daughter, when I picked up Thursday morning, and that's what I was telling Officer Aaron, when she was walking out, coming to the car, she was like she was in a daze, and she was just walking, and I asked her questions, all she could say is, I don't know, and I'm saying, there's no way she could go to work today, because she passed out in the car before I backed up, and I was talking with her and she wasn't replying, and then I looked over and she was like asleep. I said, And again, the reason I come up here is so I could physically see if she's okay.
Right, I know. You told us that many times.
Okay.
Yeah, I can understand that.
No.
But you guys were never in Connecticut?
If we were, it's by accident. It's kind of like, I guess these states are all connected, so I don't know the highways. We followed the highways and we looped and coming back. So as far as asking me if I was specifically in Connecticut, because I don't know when we leave Maine to get into Massachusetts, because I'm like new in the area, so it's like we was driving. So as far as asking me that question, I'll say I don't know, because I would have to, look the map to see the freeway, the numbers, because we just driving, like when we drove to Salem, I don't know the area, we just driving. But no, we were not going to an airport, and no, I didn't drug my daughter, no, I didn't strangle my daughter, no, I didn't sexually abuse my daughter, none of those accusations. So if she's saying that, it's like, how are they getting her to say it? Because it's not true. And it's like the note she wrote to say why she left home, none of that's true, but it was her handwriting. So it's the same thing now. She's saying things, again, and this is why the agencies, they tell me that they cannot help her unless she call and ask for help. But right. She won't call anybody. And then that's when they say, well, I just have to wait, and hopefully she could recognize that she's in danger. And then from what I'm learning from, again, the national agencies, they're telling me that that's not the case. If you're entrapped, you're the prisoner. You're going to do whatever they tell you to say, whatever they're teaching you, that's what you're going to be your new memory. And if they say this, you're going to say it. So that's what's been told to me. So it's kind of like I talk with her, and it's kind of like she says she's safe, but then she'll tell me, the different issues she's having with different people, and then she's telling me the places they take her, because she don't drive, she have to go where they take her. But even though she's telling me that, it's kind of like telling me it's not gonna help her, because she cannot tell you guys. So it's kind of like it's the fear factor. It's the fear to, I don't know how, again, I'll go back and I always say I don't know how it works. I just know that it works, because everything she's telling people, because yesterday She was going to be spending the night with me last night because she wouldn't be working on Saturday. But then all of that changed. And I said, well, I know after the telephone call, I said, so everything's changing. And then again, it's the mystery of all this human trafficking activity work, but they say a lot of people are just missing and disappear. And now my daughter is one of them. And then the work, they said the key is they turn the kid against the parents first. And then if they could turn the kids against the parents, then however they operate, they just have, it's kind of like they get her to say stuff that's not true. And so my question is, do she have to prove anything she say, or she just say it? And it'd be like, well, she's just saying what they told her to say. And then she's wherever, he's sitting on the side of her, she's calling on the phone. She's not visiting the people in person and saying it. So it's like missing pieces. It's like, well, she couldn't have drove out there to talk in person because she don't drive. So she's sitting there in the apartment with Richard and whatever. And again, I don't like to speculate, but I just know whenever she's isolated, she'll say things. And you spoke with her voice, her meek voice is kind of like, that's her normal voice, and it don't change. And if she says something, and it's like, well, she's saying it. It's like, but you don't. It's kind of like if she was sitting here with me and you, and I'm saying something, and then that's not a good example. Due to this crisis, it's almost like if she said that, then you guys could take her to that counselor without Richard and let her talk in person without Richard being around, and then see the difference. Because that's all they said. If we cannot separate her from the group, then she don't have a choice, but she's going to survive as a person. You're just trying to survive. And nobody's believing me because you know you cannot say anything different. But again,
Albert, whose idea was it for you to drive her to work on Thursday? Was it her idea or was it your idea?
well, I've been picking up to drive her to work Monday. Well, it's her idea.
It was her idea?
Yeah, at first, I was going to pick up at 8:30, like I always do, and then we go to Dunkin' Donuts to eat, and then I take her to work. But then she sent me a text